Welcome, welcome, welcome to New Awareness for New Actions. We are Genetic Edge Coaching, and we are so excited. Today, we are talking about nature versus nurture and the path to finding our own genetic harmony. This actually is one of my favorite things to talk about when it comes to the things that are being discovered right now, the cutting edge science that is happening. It is absolutely amazing.
Welcome, Carla.
So, quick housekeeping thing to take care of there. So in this discussion of nature versus nurture, the goal is to achieve harmony by understanding both. So let's just talk a little bit about what we are referring to. So when we talk about nature, those are the traits that are determined by your genetics. These are the inherited characteristics that we have. And nurture, those are your life experiences. And this is your environment, your culture, your relationships. All of these are going to come together to create your nurtured behavior points. So here's an example. So of nature, Serena Williams. She is widely regarded as one of the greatest athletes of all time. Her physical attributes, such as her natural strength, her speed, her agility, they are partly a result of her genetic makeup. Her family history and the genetic predisposition all gave her this natural athletic edge. But all of this is amplified by nurture. So while her natural talent was crucial, it was her disciplined upbringing and that rigorous training and the competitive environment that refined and maximized her abilities. Without that nature, she could have been practicing all day. She still would not be the Serena Williams that we know and love today. Now, a nurture example, we've got Malala Yousafzai. Now, she is an advocacy and a public speaker, and the environmental influence on her was growing up in a community that valued education. Her father was a strong advocate for girls' schooling. And her abilities in public speaking and resilience and advocacy, these were all nurtured through her upbringing in that family that emphasized the importance of standing up for your beliefs. And the challenges that she faced, such as being targeted for her activism, those further sharpened her determination and her skills as a communicator and a global advocate. So I want you to share with me in the chat, what do you think has got a greater influence for you, nature or nurture? And I am going to share this. So the way that I want you to do it is give me a nice DNA strand if you are on team nature, and give me a nice little plant if you are on team nurture. Which of these do you think is most dominant for you in your life? So Kara is team nurture. Vicky is team nurture. Matarima is team nurture. I love that. Yeah. It is a difficult question. Yes, Matarima, I totally agree. It is challenging. It's also something that we don't tend to think about very much. Because even though this debate has been going on since the days of early philosophers with Plato, it has today only become part of the conversation because we understand our nature so much better than we ever did before. It was guesswork before, but now we've got data that shows this is how we are. So for myself, this is one of the reasons why I'm so incredibly fascinated by this idea of what's leading the reins, what's got the reins of that horse. I like old movies, y'all. So, having a stagecoach and there's the horses and who's got the reins. So knowing who is at the reins or in the driver's seat. There we go. Let's get a little more contemporary. Who is in the driver's seat has been something I've been asking myself my entire life. Because it wasn't until I was in college that I discovered the reason I had so much trouble in 6th grade was because I have dyslexia. And I didn't know that there was a reason why things were skewed in my life and in my the way that I engaged with the world. It just felt like there was something that was off. I didn't know what it was. So it was all about creating strategies and plans to first off make sure that nobody knew, because I didn't want it to affect my opportunities or anything else. And so I created all kinds of crazy strategies that helped me to thrive as a person with dyslexia. And so understanding that some things are built in and some things are crafted within us. But that also means that we can recraft them. We can put that mold, we can get it wet again, and we can remold it into something else. We are not stuck with where we are at any given moment. And we have seen this again and again and again. So, can you share with me any time where you have felt that your natural traits or your upbringing significantly impacted your success?
Yeah. Like so many times. Yes. So here's the one that has been glaring in my face, particularly this season. I think we can all just see already, I present very much like an extrovert. And most people in my life would be like, oh, yeah, she's an extrovert. What I discovered in the pandemic is I love not having to people. I liked it. And that tracks. So the neurospiciness in my family, the neurodivergence, that is something that has been for generations and generations that I can now go back and track. And in looking at that, we have actively for generations cultivated our skills and abilities around peopling so that our brains could navigate that human space in real time. And when I am in that spot, oh, I am good at it. I'm like, yes. And then I get done and I'm like, as my brain oozes out my ear and my whole body's like, okay, we need a sec though. And understanding my nature versus my nurture allowed me to lean in and be that effervescent human in front of people and then not beat myself up when I needed an entire day for recovery.
Yes. Knowing that nature is in there, it helps you understand that there's a reason behind your not being whatever the goal is somebody else has set out for you or the standard that somebody else has designed for you.
Oh my gosh, I love this conversation because it's kind of like a reverse play of what Kara is saying, but it is for me because everyone I meet, they're like, oh my gosh, Madhurima, we love your energy. You're so amazing. You're so exciting. But they don't know that as soon as a session is done, irrespective of how much fun I've had, I go, oh, it's like it's probably like removing your bra off after you come back from work and you feel that moment of freedom. And honestly, for me, for a really long time, the reason why I said it was like a reversal for me was because I had to learn to kind of tap into my introvert qualities and allow myself to be in a space where I was engaging with other people and being able to, like, hold that space, bring out all of my personality, but also know that after something is done, I get the opportunity to kind of like step back and just ooh and relax. But yeah, man, like for real, 4 years ago, you would have met me. I would be the most shyest person in the entire room. I wouldn't even talk to you. You would be like, I would disappear into the crowd because that's how I have been pretty much all my life. Because I was like, I know the answer, but I'm not gonna raise my hand. I know what's going to happen. I can engage, but also I won't because you guys are engaging pretty well without me. Why should I interact? Like, I'm just sitting here observing. But yeah, nature nurture. I would say that.
Excellent. And that is what is so incredible about finding your own genetic harmony, is where you are leveraging both your nature and your nurture so that you can grow as a human being, so that you can grow in your business, so that you can connect with your clients, with those who you are creating whatever transformation or outcome for. And understanding those genetic predispositions, it's going to inform those choices and it's going to optimize your nurturing process. It also, frankly, gives you an out. So I am not a fan of coffee. Guess what? That's genetics too. So on my DNA, like I never knew why I didn't like coffee. I just knew I didn't like coffee. So now if anybody says, what, you don't like coffee? I'm like, hey, talk to my genes. I'm not going to nurture myself to like coffee unless I want to, because I am not predisposed to like it. So knowing these things, knowledge is power. And that's what this is. It helps you understand yourself, what your personal leanings are, and then what do you want to do about it? That is the next thing. It empowers you in how to answer that question too. So what is one question that you have always had about the role of genetics and how it shapes your life? And again, I've been asking myself that question forever, and I am so glad to finally have an understanding of both sides of this coin.
And Carla, we want to invite you to speak, absolutely, if you feel comfortable. And will you ask us that question again, Kimberly?
Sure. What is one question that you have always had about the role of genetics in shaping your life?
For me, it's permanency. Is it permanent? And we're learning that it's not necessarily permanent. You can curtail it.
Exactly. Nothing is set in stone.
Yeah.
It may be set in your DNA, but that doesn't mean it's the only path you have.
And as soon as I learned about nature versus nurture, my question became, so how do I impact that? Like, how do I take control of that? I would love that. As soon as literally the first time I listened to a TEDx on epigenetics, I was like, say more words. I need to know everything about this. And what do I do? Hence why we're here.
I love that. I love it. So this is actually how you do that. So I've got a 3-step process for you. So you start by identifying just one trait or strength that is rooted in your genetics. And then you want to reflect on how your environment has shaped that trait, either positively or negatively. And then 3, you want to take just one step that's going to nurture a strength or minimize a challenge that's related to that trait. That is how you do it. So, can you commit to taking one step today and share in the comments how you're going to nurture your natural gifts or your environment? As someone who is neurospicy and an introvert, again, I am doing this every single day.
Yeah. You know what I work on with my clients right now because of that. So speaking of the neurospicy and how to leverage this when the entire world has told you for the entirety of your life that you are inherently wrong, you're damaged, and you're different than everybody else, and that's a you problem. And then you learn about your genetics, and you're like, oh, that's just not a problem. It's just a thing. And then I can do something with it. And it's that understanding what those traits mean, right? So because of my level of spiciness, I do not thrive under routine and consistency. I need routine because if I don't have that, the chaos just chaos rabbit comes in and it's like ricochet. Bing, bing, bing. But when I recognized that, I understood that it was because of the monotonous of it. My brain is like, bored now. Don't want to play any. Nope. We'll literally never do this again because I hate it forever. And it gave me permission to strategize, right? That was the word you used earlier. To strategize, okay, so if I know I have to, I do executive coaching. This means I need to post on the social medias for visibility. And when I had to post every day, and that was the requirement, it was a struggle. But when it became, you're going to post something that's funny today, and today you're just going to get on and say something that's irritating you. And then today, and I was able to put that make it different, even though it's the same every time, my brain accepted it better. And learning those things, if this is how I am, it's like almost like you have permission to be that way, and then strategize what works for you from there.
Exactly. Yeah. It's changing that focus from being a problem to being a power.
I love that. For me, one of the things that I found out was me being an extremely creative person, which is in my genetics, and utilizing that to like really fine tune every way that I approach business and personal life. Like, especially with my business, I'm all about making stress management fun, and it is all about like let's get creative, let's put on our detective hats and figure this out. Like, this is the journey. Where do we want to go? How do we want to reach there? And I think, you asking this question really highlighted that for me and brought it forefront of my mind. So thank you for that. Let's go.
I guess for me too, it's just I lean toward extrovert. I do have introvert in me as well, but I lean toward extrovert and I get my energy a lot from people. So just to make sure I, get my bout of people and boost that energy. Because I learned during COVID and the shutdown that it was very difficult for me and I was struggling a lot. And my energy levels were very, very low and I didn't know why. And then that was just like, oh, because you need a few more people in your life and you need to make phone calls and you need to do Zooms and stuff like that. So that energizes me. So I learned that process and keep it going.
Excellent. I'm going to leave the floor open so if anybody else wants to share.
Can sorry. I've just worked in education for 30 years and came out in April time due to a toxic environment. And I'm now working from home, but I don't really come across many people. So it's like you feel a bit isolated, don't you?
Absolutely. So finding those points of connection with others is so incredibly vital. So I love that you recognize that within yourself, and Carla, that you are finding those moments of connection. I encourage you, if you are feeling that lack, definitely feed it as much. And I'm so glad that you are here today so that we can feed that connection with you. That's
Thank
wonderful. Wonderful. So one of the things that I have been thinking lately about the way that we tend to approach behavioral traits that we want to shift in our lives is focusing more on the nurture than the potential nature that's underpinning it. So this would be the same thing as like you get a flat tire. And so you put air in the tire and it goes flat again. You're like, okay, what's wrong? So then you look at the tire and go, oh, there's a nail in it. Okay, so you get that fixed. And then it goes flat again. And what happened? You look at it again. Oh, there's a whole new nail. Get that. So maybe it's just the tire. So I'm going to get a whole new tire. But what you've missed is that your driveway is littered with nails. And until you get those nails and you address that on your driveway, I don't care what kind of tires you get, you are constantly going to have new nails, new nails, new nails in your tires.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we do in genetic harmony, is finding that bridge. So when is it a nail in the tire? And when is it a nail on the driveway? So that you can have a strategy that is going to work long-term if nails in your tire is a problem for you. And that's the other thing, is you can decide, you know what, I'm okay with nails in my tire. Because guess what? I have a crush on the person at the tire place. And I love spending time with that person, you know, every couple of days to get the new nail out. Fine. So so you can choose. And that's what I love. I love learning new things because knowledge is power, but I also love the power of choice in what I want to do next. And one thing that science has uncovered is that there are 3 billion base pairs of DNA. And if you unraveled them, it's going to stretch 6 feet tall in each cell. That's taller than me. I am not 6 feet tall. My DNA is taller than me.
5'4" of me.
What? That's a crazy amount. So the next time you are standing next to somebody, like, oh yeah, you're as tall as my DNA. Look at you. Yes. And humans have around 20 to 25,000 genes. And each one of those is a blueprint for the different traits and the functions in your body. That is like having 20 to 25,000 bosses in your body, and each one is giving specific orders of things to do. Some of them are giving helpful instructions, and some of them are creating endless possibilities for what can happen in your life. Some are going to be demanding, and some, frankly, they only wake up when you need them. So not all of your bosses. I always think of like, what is the movie, In and Out or Inside Out?
Inside Out.
Inside Out. Yes. With all of the little emotional traits that are inside your brain that are each wanting to be in control and driving that car. So that's what each of these bosses are. You've got between 20 and 25,000 of them in your body. And there are only about 0.1% of genetic differences between two humans. But with that many options, that is millions of variations that are going to shape who you are. Remember, 0.1% of 3 billion base pairs. I mean, that's still a pretty size. That's more than 2. Okay. That's a lot of variations that are going to shape who we are. So understanding how to do that with someone that can help you, because those numbers are staggering. That complexity can be overwhelming. But the good news is you don't have to decode this massive instruction manual all by yourself. Genetic Harmony specializes in translating this wealth of information into simple, actionable insights that are going to empower you to live in alignment with your true self. So we invite you to join us to uncover your genetic blueprint and learn how to nurture your unique potential effortlessly as you find that harmony within your nature and your nurture.
Wow. Kimberly, this was amazing. Thank you so much. I love this. I love the nature
Absolutely
nurture
agree.
conversation. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Mind-blowing moments. For real, for real.
Every time. I mean, we've been diving into this for so long, and every time this comes back up, it's like, oh yeah, there it is again. Oh yeah, there it is again. And I love the segue. So Carla, hopefully you got something out of coming today. We are so glad that you joined us. And we'll be doing this again next Friday. And next Friday, we're going to talk about neurotransmitters, and I will be referencing Inside Out again, and because Disney gets it.
Yes.
Speaking of those mind monsters.
Absolutely. And can someone drop the link in the chat? So if you want to learn more about the course, about how you can find this genetic harmony within yourself, find that balance, within what's putting the nails in your tire? Then we would love this opportunity to share this journey with you, share the modalities that are going to help you find the way to understand the bosses who are driving the train. And then I'm on so many different vehicles today. I don't know where my brain is.
Loving this though. We're all transportation.
Let's be in a hot air balloon next.
Yeah.
But however you are getting into momentum, you get to choose how that behavior exists in your world, how it is exhibited in your life, whether it is nature or nurture that put it there, you get to choose.
How to accept it and leverage it for your better best. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you so much for joining us today. This has been an amazing chat, one of my favorite topics. I thank you all.
Carla, any questions before we call it for today? We would love to just open it up to answer anything that's coming up for you. Okay. Well, join us next week. We're delighted to have you here. We would love to be a place for you to have people while you are out of toxicity and headed towards thriving.
Thank you.
Yes, we will connect with you the same time next week.
Thank you ever so much for allowing me on.
Oh, our pleasure. Our pleasure.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.